Welcome to the Energy for Life podcast, helping busy women reclaim their energy, innate power, and self-worth. Here is your host, Corona Brady.
Welcome back. Welcome to episode 41 of the Energy for Life podcast show, and I am your host, Corona Brady. Today I want to talk to you about the signs of a midlife awakening. Why do I want to share this with you today? Because I support so many women who are navigating this every single day in their life. And I know many of you will be able to relate to what I have to share today. And perhaps you know of somebody in your life who can also relate to this and who is maybe navigating this. And perhaps you can be so kind enough to pass this on and share it with her today. So midlife can be a really intense emotional turmoil for any woman. And it can actually be a very huge turning point in a woman's life. And this time it can really begin at any point for a woman, but most commonly in a woman's life it tends to be mid to late 30s or early to mid to late 40s, or even as late as her early 50s. And she can just start to feel this nagging, consistent sense that something is really missing from her life. She might be having thoughts of there has to be more to life than this. And she might be feeling just a sense of loss on some level. Now, this midlife period, it can really span from about the age 35, even a little bit earlier, to 65. And what it can often feel like is days, weeks, months, years, sometimes even a decade of just this consistent nagging feeling of confusion, of loneliness, isolation, dissatisfaction, boredom, anxiety, fear, worthlessness, worry, and unrealized potential. And there might even be some self-destructive behavior and just this kind of general feeling of stagnation. You might find yourself daydreaming about just being somewhere else than in your current life, doing something different, or just being petrified on some level of the possibility of you being stuck in this same situation for the next week, month, year, decade, or even decades. And what you're really longing for is you're longing for change. So let me just talk through some of the many symptoms that comes with this. It can be an overwhelming feeling of loss, like lost dreams, lost wishes, lost hopes, and lost desires. It can be feelings of worthlessness, feelings of just a sense of blah about everything in your life, and feelings like, what's the point? You may dread getting out of bed. Your life may very feel like you're on automatic pilot. And what's really showing up for you right now in your life is that your current way of living, your current life, is just not working anymore. You can feel a stagnation building within. You might even find yourself comparing yourself to others and having consistent feelings of jealousy settle in. Everything may feel like it's just so hard. Everything may feel like a chore. You may be very successful, but you're certainly not very satisfied. You might be overwhelmed by just even thinking about the ticking clock and that you only have so much time left to fulfill your life goals and dreams. Feelings of just doubt, nagging doubts. You might be asking yourself consistent questions such as, is this all there is? There has to be more to life than this. What am I doing with my life? Why am I here? What's next? Am I a failure? There may be feelings of exhaustion, feelings of boredom, and just a dissatisfaction with your current life, your current lifestyle. And that may include people in your life and material things that up until now might have provided fulfillment. Feeling restless, feeling frazzled, and wanting something completely different. You might be finding yourself really consumed by the past, analysing the past, questioning decisions that you made in the past or you haven't made, and really trying to understand the meaning of your life on some level. You might be confused by who you are, what your real purpose in the world is, and where your life is heading. You might be spending time daydreaming. You could feel maybe consistent feelings of frustration and anger outbursts, irritability. You might be feeling sadness or growing unhappiness with just this daily grind of life, or a sense of loneliness, isolation. And during this time, you might find yourself using alcohols more, depending on alcohol more, depending on drugs more, or food. You might also find that you no longer really have desire for sex, or you might notice a significant increase in your sexual desire. You might find yourself waking up throughout the night, so feeling like you're not getting a restful, restored sleep. Or you feel like your vision for the future just feels very dismal. Or you might see yourself as old now, and that your best years are now behind you. You might find yourself becoming overly obsessed about your appearance. And this can often be a time when women start having Botox, as they begin to fight the natural cycle and stage of their life. And by the way, I know so much about the signs and symptoms, as these are the women I support every single day in my Energy for Life Academy program and my Awakened Woman Life Mastery program. It's often during this time that a woman's fears, her worries, her anxieties will begin to increase. And if she hasn't dealt with her past, often memories of those unhealed traumas from childhood will often resurface here. And what that can bring is anxiety, depression, and even anger. Her memory can often become really foggy and clouded, and concentration can often become frazzled. And maybe for the first time in her life, she is becoming aware, she's noticing how highly emotional she is, and she's finding herself crying at the drop of a hat. It's crucial. It's so important that during this time that a woman does not abandon herself to self-pity or victim mentality. And if a woman desires a different experience in her second part of her life, she has to do something differently. Now, this can be an overwhelming time, it can be a confusing time, it can be a bewildering time. And know that coping with the challenges that arise during this time, it takes time, it takes energy, and it's necessary. It's actually a necessary part of finding greater fulfillment, greater satisfaction in life. If you can relate to any of the above today, I want to offer you a journaling prompt. So you can do this at any point. Grab your journal, and what I recommend always before you begin a journaling practice is to do something to ground, do something to center, do a breathing exercise or do a short meditation to get you out of your head and really into your heart space. And the journaling prompt I want to offer you is, how do you feel about where you are currently right now in your life and where you are heading? How do you feel about where you are currently in your life and where you are heading? So that's the first journaling prompt. The second journaling prompt I want to offer you today is, have you experienced any of these symptoms, thoughts, or feelings that I've explained above? Have you experienced them more than once? So have you experienced them on a regular occurrence? And I recommend that you take yourself somewhere beautiful in nature to do this journaling exercise. Something else that I recommend during this time of emotional turmoil is exploring your values. This is a beautiful time. It's a beautiful moment in your life where you get to recreate yourself. And just know that this can be so hard to do this alone because change is not easy. I'm not going to lie, change is hard. And there's no growth without discomfort. So my advice to you today is don't go it alone. Find support, find comfort with those that don't limit your transformation or pass judgment to you. Share your experience, talk to somebody, seek the guidance of a coach who will really help you move in the direction that you want to go in. And they'll also help define a plan of action, but most importantly, they will hold you accountable to that. We have a whole module on exploring your values in our Energy for Life Academy program, and it's actually one of the most empowering modules. The women get a lot from this. So here are some questions that you can think about here. What do I want my life to look like? What do I really want for myself? What brings me joy? And just know that a midlife awakening is a really emotional time. Experience your feelings, experience them fully, and really give yourself a lot of love, a lot of compassion, and be willing to feel the dark feelings. The feelings that we often avoid and resist, such as anger, fear, frustration, disappointment, grief. And be gentle, be really, really gentle with yourself. If you can relate to any of what I've shared here today, I encourage you to go to coronabrady.com/apply and book in for an initial complimentary chat with me. On this call, we will really see where you're at right now in your life, and we'll be able to see if I can support you or not and what that could look like. Once you choose the day and time that works best for you, you'll then be redirected to an application form. And if you can provide as much detail as possible there, that would be greatly appreciated so that I can really give you the best value on that call. And please, if you know another woman in your life right now who's experiencing any of what I've shared here today, do me a huge favor. Please share this with her today. This might be what she needs to hear today.